Hey, it's SR Murray here from Mistwood Publishing, and today I wanted to do a video similar to one that I've done in the past where I kind of told you the purpose and the deeper meaning behind the books. You know, I did one for the Sylvan Mist a while ago and you guys really liked it, and so now I'm going to do one for the Veil of Stars. So the whole series has this overarching thing that life matters, that beauty, not practicality, is something worth dying for. And I talked about in that last video how, you know, like my wife, you know, I wouldn't put my life down for my wife because she brings in an income, because she can make me dinner, if she, you know, like there's practical reasons. I do it because she is beautiful physically, but also more importantly, emotionally. Who she is as a person is complex and she matters. That human beings matter because they're human beings, that life matters. Everybody matters. And that goes for all people, even people I disagree with, because here's the thing. I fully believe that you can still love people without compromising your convictions. Like you can have disagreements with each other and still love that person. You know, you don't have to compromise your convictions to be compassionate, right? And so that's like really at the core of who I am as a person. It's really at the core of this book series. So in the Sylvan Mist, there was a really strong focus. You know, the quote was, "Beauty, not practicality, is something worth dying for." So I really hit that main message in the first book, in the Sylvan Mist. And I also kind of, like Elion was kind of struggling with, you know, every book's going to have that message of life matters, but there's also like a subcategory to that, right? So in the Sylvan Mist, Elion's journals were all about, like, he was concerned that people only did things for selfish reasons. And by the end of the book, he discovers that that's not always true, right? So that kind of like shows, it kind of is like making a case that there is real love out there and that we should embody that love. Just because other people do things for selfish reasons doesn't mean that you have to do that. You know, be like that. So The Veil of Stars, this next book, has that same overarching message. It has that same style that is George R. R. Martin, Tolkien, and R.A. Salvatore. And it has that overarching message that all life matters. You know, all of my books are going to have that. But this book in particular focuses on those that we think don't deserve, that their life is less valuable because they're kind of like considered scum. Right? So we get a lot of inspiration from the story of the prostitute that pours the perfume on Jesus' feet, and all the disciples are like, "Why is she doing that?" And Jesus is like, "Have you ever done this for me? Like, she's treating me better than you, so be quiet," you know, in a more polite way. But, well, no, actually, Jesus actually can be a savage at times, you know. That just comes, you know, that story really resonates with me. I think that if you want to, like, let's say that there is somebody out there that maybe doesn't fit, that doesn't live a traditionally moral life, or even somebody that you disagree with. Are you going to change that person's mind by screaming at them and calling them a bigot? Or would having an honest conversation with them and like treating them like a human being, even though you disagree with them, that's going to change their mind? And even then it might not change their mind, but you're definitely not going to change their mind by screaming at them. So, like in that story, you know, a lot of the characters in this book are going to meet characters like Neris and even Narbet at first, and they're like, "Oh, well, she's like, they're not really." The kingdom of Gesu is not for those people, right? But it is, and that's the thing. It's like, you're supposed to love everybody. And by the way, love doesn't mean that you accept what they're doing as okay. Again, you can be compassionate towards somebody without compromising your convictions. So in this book, there are characters that are doing like sketchy things that most of us would think, well, they definitely don't deserve. Like, they deserve salvation less. They deserve religion less. They deserve love less than the rest of us because they're like a prostitute, you know? And so it's kind of like that message, that there are some characters that treat those people that maybe would be considered less than, they treat them as less than, kind of like the disciples do with the prostitute. But then there are characters that are like Jesus, where they treat the person with kindness, and through that, they find redemption. And I think that's a very beautiful message. There's a guy, an African-American fellow, that has made it his point to talk with people in the KKK. He doesn't yell at them. He doesn't scream at them, even though people in the KKK have some crazy beliefs that are like totally wrong, you know? But this guy, he understands that yelling at them and calling them bigot and racist, although they are bigots and racist, yelling at them and calling them that isn't going to help. If you want to actually help them, like change their mind, yelling at them isn't going to do it. So he like meets with them, like has lunch with them, talks with them. Wrong. He's convinced like, I think, several dozen KKK members to give up the cowl. So, I don't know if you call that a cowl, but that to me just embodies the point of that story, right? That redemption is possible and that every one of us nobody deserves salvation. We've all done horrible things. We can all be terrible people. We need to look past that and see that everybody has value. No matter what mistakes they've made in their life, they still deserve your love. No matter what mistakes they're making right now, they still deserve your love. And I think that's not even like necessarily a Christian principle, even though I'm inspired by a biblical story. I think that's a pretty universal thing. I don't think that's really like me like preaching a religion at you. That is like, I feel like pretty much every person that, like even atheists or an agnostic or a Buddhist could agree with that people deserve love even though they've done horrible things, and that anybody could be redeemed. So I'll close with this quote. It's like my favorite quote right now by a guy named Rick Warren. I think it really embodies the message. Again, this book does have the whole, beauty, not practicality, is something worth dying for. But then like the subsection of that is that even those that we think are less than us still deserve love. So I think that this quote really embodies that. It kind of embodies the story of, the prostitute and Jesus and the guy with the KKK in a way that is, I think, really moving. It says, our culture has accepted two huge lies. The first is that if you disagree with someone's lifestyle, you must fear or hate them. The second is that to love someone means you agree with everything they believe or do. Both are nonsense. You don't have to compromise convictions to be compassionate. What that means is like this guy that's helping the KKK members, he doesn't agree with those people. And they are terrible, like their belief system is terrible. But he understands that that's not going to help, And just because he disagrees with those people doesn't mean that he loves them. And just because he disagrees with them doesn't mean he hates them. He loves them. He's trying to help them, right? So just because me or you might disagree on somebody else's lifestyle, it doesn't mean that we hate them. And it doesn't mean that they don't deserve compassion. I think that's a beautiful message. So in summary, this book has that overarching, theme that life matters, that all life has value, that it's not in the practical gain we can get from things that gives things value. It's like a painting. A painting doesn't have any practical function. Its value comes from who made it and how beautiful the message, physically, and the message behind it is, right? That's like a human being. Like, our value shouldn't come from what we can get from other people. It should come from, like a painting, who made it, if you're religious, and the meaning, like who that person is, the fact they have a personality, that gives them value. And in addition to that, it has the kind of like sub-point of even those that most people think don't deserve grace, that they actually, we should show it to them. I think that that's the right thing to do, that they might not deserve it, but that's what grace is. It's forgiveness and love to those that don't deserve it. And that's kind of the message behind this book. Peace out. Have a wonderful week.